Oh. Good morning, everybody. Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead, as well as a bunch of chickens, and Mercy. Angel sleeping inside him on my desk chair. It is early Sunday morning. This is my second attempt at making this video. I tried to make it yesterday, but I got a phone call in the middle of me making it, and I just didn't get back to it yesterday. You're noisy. You are noisy. Can you carry on the conversation someplace else, please? Just because they were here before I was. They're being very noisy. So hopefully y'all can hear me. They may quiet down eventually. I don't know what they're talking about. Anyway. Birds. 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 Go. Yesterday I fought with goats. Today it's chickens. Thank you. That goes for you too. Livestock is wonderful. Anyway, I wanted to make this video because I got the final report back on MooMoo's necropsy. I had mentioned before that she died from peritonitis. We all know pretty much what that is. It's when it's an infection caused by the contents of your digestive tract spilling into inside your abdomen. Okay. So she had sustained a wound, and I consulted with the vet yesterday after I received the report, and I went over some things to make sure I was clear, because I mean they use terminology that the layperson doesn't necessarily use, and I mean I understood most of it, but there were certain parts that I wasn't real clear on, and so he went over it with me, and the wound was in a location that I would not have seen. Just listening for goats. And so, I mean, I was feeling guilty because I thought that the wound was where I should have seen it. Well, no, for the description, like I said, they were using words that the layperson doesn't normally use. So I wasn't real clear on the exact location. But no, it was down in the abdomen, in the belly section. And so it was not obvious to me. There wasn't a lot of bleeding. All of the bleeding was more internal. There wasn't a whole lot, okay? But there was some, but it was internal. So there wasn't like gushing blood all over the place. If there had been obvious blood, I would have inspected her, but there wasn't. I saw one goat that looked like it had a little bit of fresh blood on it. I inspected that goat and no wounds on it, so I assumed that they had brushed up against Maggie, who does have that sore that she's being treated for. On her side. So that's a work in progress. So, I had no idea that MooMoo had sustained that wound. It was not easily visible. Yes, Sheba, hello. Hello, Sheba. There's a good girl. Yeah. You taking care of the goats? Are the goats on their way back, huh? Yeah? Okay. Yes, I know. What you do? You heard me talking, huh? Is that what it is? You heard me talking? There's water over here. There's water right there. I know, it's chicken water. I know. It's not a very deep bowl. I think that you're going to drink it anyway? Okay. What I do, it's been very dry. We haven't had rain in weeks. You see this bucket right here? I have a drip in my gutter. And we're getting some moisture in the form of dew, and it runs off the roof and into the gutters, and it drips from this, from the gutter here. And that is what it's dripping into the bucket. And then in the morning I take the bucket and I have a small bowl down here and I pour that into the bowl for the chickens and apparently a dog. So there's water available for the chickens. I had filled it this morning and it's still dripping. So yeah. So anyway, to expound a little bit more on MooMoo's necropsy. They did more than just that. They took a liver panel and they checked her kidneys, they checked her minerals, and it addressed some issues that I was wondering about in regards to the general health of my herd. Okay, so MooMoo's necropsy added more information for me in regards to the rest of the herd. One thing is they discovered that she did not have worms at all. There was nothing visible there about worms, so that's good. Now, if there was any of them that was going to have worms, it would have been MooMoo, in my mind, okay, because she was on the thinner side as far as I was concerned. But they, according to their report, she had decent muscle coverage, okay, on her frame. Excuse me. And so, you know, that made me feel better. I thought for sure she was going to come back as being underweight, but they said that no, she had good muscle coverage, and that she did not, there was no indication of any kind of a worm load. So that was good. Her copper came back as being sufficient, you know, a good amount of copper. So that was good. The rest of her, you're distracting. Not that she cares. The rest of her mineral panel showed she was a little high on her manganese. And I asked the vet, okay, now where would she have gotten that? And they asked about what I was feeding her. And I told them, you know, an alfalfa and a goat feed, a textured feed that I get from Berkman's. It's formulated for goats. And I do a 2-to-1 ratio of alfalfa to grain. Okay, and I don't feed heavy, so that was okay. But and then the minerals, I said I provide a loose goat mineral for the goats, but they do have access to a mineral lick that I have for my horse, and he said that could be where her manganese would have been slightly elevated. So I've been trying to figure out what I can do with the salt lick, so that honey still has access to it, but the goats not so much, because I'd rather they have their loose minerals. That's specially formulated for goats. Okay. So that it wasn't really a major issue, but it was slightly elevated. Another thing that it showed was her selenium was slightly, ever so slightly, on the low side. And I asked him if I should do any kind of supplementation for the rest of the herd. And he said that no, selenium is one of those minerals that, yes, it is required. However, you can very easily overdose on it. So I know there's a lot of goat breeders that will, when their kids are born, they'll give them a little dose of selenium gel. It's a selenium and I think it's selenium and E. I have a tube of it that I keep on hand. But I've never given it, okay? And he said that because of it's just minusculely low, that it's not, it does not warrant supplementation. Mercy, please don't rub on the tripod. So anyway, those were the only two things that came back on the panel. Everything was good. Everything was good. So that makes me feel better about the general health of my herd. Mercy, please do not. No, Mercy, stop. Mercy. Sorry about that. So that makes me feel a lot better. So MooMoo's death was not totally in vain. Her body did provide additional information for the general health of the herd. Now, yes, it's possible to have an outlier in your herd that maybe has a lot of health issues. MooMoo was the one that I was most concerned about. Okay, so that she is the one that had the unfortunate accident that took her life. You know, that maybe was for the best. Of all the ones that I had. Okay, so yes, I've had deaths, but they were from listeriosis, which they can't test for that, and that can be in just about anything. Okay, that can be in the ground, that can be in the hay, you know, it can be just about into anything. And I have asked about testing. They can't, there's no testing for it. You just do the best you can. Okay, and there's no vaccine for it. And I had one that died, I believe, from pneumonia. That was Lily, and I now have stuff on hand for medicating for that kind of thing, because she came down with it on a Friday night when I can't get a hold of the vet. Okay, so a whole weekend, and she died, I believe it was on a Sunday that she died. So that was not good. But now I have stuff that's for respiratory problems. So, and then another one died from a freak accident, and I'm not just talking about MooMoo, I'm talking about one of the kids. So that was, the deaths had nothing to do with the overall general health of the herd. So anyway, just wanted to go over with you the final results on MooMoo's necropsy. I do not regret spending the money for it. I did not think it was, I was expecting it to be over $200, and it wasn't. It really was not that bad a price. It was still over $100, but I got a wealth of information from it. So it was, and I don't regret doing it. Would I do it again? It depends on the situation. I mean, sometimes you know what they die from. So, you know, in that kind of situation, no, I would not have a necropsy done. But if I had one that died for no obvious reasons, and I had no clue, that might be a possibility. Okay. Let me see here. Report on Daisy, my Seinen, the dairy goat. She is on loan to some Amish friends of mine. Her milk production had dropped, and she had lost some weight. So I went and got some senior horse feed, and I took over some minerals for them. Oh, there's a goldfinch on the wires. Too bad you can't see it. It is so pretty, bright yellow. I'm glad to see it, and hopefully Mercy doesn't think that she's got to catch it. So anyway, yeah. So since I gave Daisy a B12 oral, not B12, B complex orally, and I left them with wormer because at the time I hadn't gotten the final report on the necropsy yet. So I left them some wormer already, you know, designated for her size, okay, for just in case. But I said, I don't really think she has worms, but hang on to it just in case, okay. And I gave her a little bit of well, I tried to give her some probiotics, but she wasn't taking it real well. So I left the probiotics with them. So if you can get it, dose it into her, you know, that would be helpful. And I left the minerals. She really went crazy over the minerals. So I think that was probably part of her problem, was she was really deficient with her minerals, especially with this heat. I didn't even think about them not having it. And of course they wouldn't necessarily. So, oh, there's the female goldfinch. That was the male, and there's the female. The female's not quite as bright. So that's good. Maybe they're having a nest handy here somewheres. Hopefully not where the cats can get them. So anyway, yeah, so she is, I checked with him. I gave her a couple days. I checked with him, and he said that she's doing much better. Her milk production is back up. So that's Daisy. Okay. I showed you my new buck. He has settled in. He's eating with the other boys now in the feed trough. And he found the hay, and I'm assuming he found the water. Just put some fresh minerals in with them this morning. So he's doing good so far. And Sunny, who had the sore, you know, she had gotten stuck in the fork, okay, the tree. She is improved. Her sore from the infection is almost 100% healed, okay. She's still, her muscle tone in her hind end still is lacking, but like the vet said, she did have some nerve damage, and she did have some muscle damage, and that's just going to take time. So, but she's out with the herd. She's getting around fine, and hopefully over time I can start to see her build up. Okay. And Maggie, I tell you, that one's a handful. I've got a special ointment to put on her wound, and it seems to be beneficial. There was one morning where I missed putting it on her sore, and it came back. When she came back later that day, she was raw. Okay, so she has to have it twice a day. So I get her in the morning and I get her at night, and I just put this ointment on her. It's silver sulfa something or other. So I'm going to have to get the prescription refilled because I'm almost out, but I can get that this week. So I find if I keep up with this, it does seem to be improving, but I think it's not going to be something that's going to be cleared up in a day or two, because she's been on this for about a week now, I think. But we're getting there. We're getting there. If we can keep the flies off of her to keep it from getting irritated from the flies, because right now the greenheads are out and they bite hard. The goats don't like them. Honey doesn't like them. Well, she tolerates them better than the goats do. But so anyway, so that's what's been going on. That's necropsy and a report on the other goats that have had issues. Everybody so far is doing good. So anyway, I hope y'all are staying cool. This heat's going to be lasting right to the end of June. Get a little bit of a relief in July. Praying that we get some of the storms that they say are going to be in the area this afternoon and early evening. It'd be great if we could get at least one good storm. So praying for that. So anyway, I will let you all go. I'm going to go back in and finish my coffee before my husband gets up. And then I have to cook breakfast. So Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead. I will talk to y'all later. Have a good one.